Controlling the pacing of the edit is a huge part of being an editor. Kind of like we talked about earlier in regards to eye blinking, the frequency of the cuts in our edit often mimics what the heart rate of the audience should be doing. So when there are slow scenes that are heartfelt or relaxed, there probably should be fewer edits. Likewise, in high-intensity action scenes, it's common to have frequent edits, with some shots only being on screen for a fraction of a second. One of my favorite examples of this is in the classic horror film Night of the Living Dead. In the beginning of the film, before there are any zombies attacking or anything scary, we have a brother and sister just hanging out in the car talking. It's one long, uninterrupted shot that is on screen almost 30 seconds before cutting away to something else. Now contrast that to later in the film when we're in the middle of the zombies attacking. Look at all the cuts. There are constant cuts. And again, the frequency of these cuts mirror what the heart rate of the audience should be doing. Also, as we make the length of the edit just enough to allow the audience to make sense of the shot, it also forces them to pay closer attention, which adds to the intensity of the sequence. Now, these aren't hard and fast rules and can always be broken. Remember that sequence from Rear Window that we looked at earlier? The tension is so thick here. My heart is racing, but those edits are few and far between. Now, you also need to pay attention to who your intended audience is. In older movies, or movies meant for a more sophisticated or intellectual crowd, you'd probably want to hold on shots longer, creating fewer edits. The converse is also true. This sequence is from one of the movies in the Fast and Furious franchise, which is a high-energy action series meant for a younger demographic. Even in this touching scene, when a dear character is about to die and is saying his farewells, the edits are still happening fairly quickly. But again, the audience is taken into consideration here. So it's fine to do something that breaks the rules, just be sure you're aware of the rules that you're breaking so your choices are intentional. On The Assurance, we were pretty constantly aware of pacing in terms of the edit, and we actually shot for this. In what was originally intended to be the opening sequence of the film, we hold on Cordelia and Tayani for a very long time. The pace here is glacially and intentionally slow. But in the end of the film, when Cordelia is putting the pieces together, things begin to ramp up. We also cut back and forth quickly between present day, when she's going to fight, and flashing back to her past. Juxtaposing different timelines like this increases the intensity even more. Now, technically, this doesn't increase the pace of the edit, but because it takes more mental effort by the audience, the net result is that the different worlds make it feel like the pacing is even faster. Remember that pacing is a huge consideration as you're assembling your edit, and is one of the big ways that the editor contributes to shaping the film.